Bezos and Sanchez are officially set to say I do on June 27.
We're entering the final countdown for what promises to be one of the most expensive, most exclusive, highly secretive weddings of the entire year.
She would kill to be there, but I don't think her or Harry came anywhere near making this guest list. They weren't sort of considered and then, oh, well, perhaps we can't quite fit them in. These people are not in this league anymore.
So apparently, Meghan Markle had a complete meltdown when she found out Jeff Bezos didn't invite her to his Venice wedding. And honestly, can we blame her? The woman went from being actual royalty to being less relevant than a TikTok dance trend from 2019. But here's where it gets absolutely ridiculous. Jeff Bezos just threw what might be the most expensive I told you so party in human history. This man rented out half of Venice, Italy for 3 days. 3 whole days. Most people can't afford a 3-day weekend at Olive Garden. And this guy's out here treating Venice like his personal playground.
This is the wedding to be at this year. As you say, it will be the wedding of the year. Would Meghan like to be there? She would kill to be there. They are off the A list, they're off the B list. I don't even think they make the C list anymore.
You can practically hear the champagne corks popping. Jeff Bezos' 3-day wedding in Venice.
But wait, it gets better. The guest list reads like a who's who of people who actually matter in 2025. Oprah's there, Leonardo DiCaprio's there, even Kim Kardashian made the cut. Kim Kardashian, the woman who became famous for a tape that shall not be named, got an invite, but the Duchess of Sussex? Crickets. Dead silence. More silence than Harry's personality during public appearances. And you know what the funniest part is? Meghan probably found out about the wedding the same way we all did, through Instagram stories and paparazzi photos. Can you imagine scrolling through your feed and seeing your entire former social circle living it up in Venice while you're at home in Montecito, California, trying to convince people that artisan jam is the next big thing? Remember when Meghan and Harry were the hottest couple on the planet? 2018 was their year. They couldn't buy groceries without making international headlines. Every outfit was analyzed, every gesture was front page news. Fast forward to 2025, and they're about as relevant as a flip phone at an Apple store.
5 years ago, they would have been invited to this wedding.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree. That was during their novelty phase, particularly when Hollywood just wanted to embrace them.
But here's what really happened, and this is where Hollywood gets brutal. These two thought they could play the game without understanding the rules. They walked away from the royal family thinking they'd land softly in Hollywood's arms. Instead, they belly flopped harder than a kid at a public pool trying to impress his crush. The Netflix deal? Underwhelming. The podcast? More boring than watching paint dry in slow motion. Harry's memoir, Spare? It sold copies, sure, but selling controversy isn't the same as earning respect. Reading that book was like watching someone air their family's dirty laundry on Jerry Springer, except Jerry Springer was actually entertaining.
They are off the A list, they're off the B list. I don't even think they make the C list anymore.
And now they're stuck in this weird limbo where they're too Hollywood for the royals and too royal for Hollywood. It's like being the person who shows up to a costume party in regular clothes. You don't fit anywhere, and everyone's just confused about why you're there. So when Bezos and Lauren Sanchez started putting together their guest list, and let's be real, this wasn't a guest list, this was a power ranking, Meghan and Harry didn't even make the first draft. Not the second draft, probably not even the maybe if we have extra seats list. This wedding wasn't just a celebration. It was a statement. Every person who stepped off those private jets in Venice represented something: current relevance, actual influence, or at the very least, the ability to trend on social media for reasons other than people making fun of them. Oprah's still building media empires. DiCaprio's still making blockbuster movies and dating women young enough to think flip phones are vintage. Even Lauren Sanchez, who some people initially dismissed, has turned herself into a legitimate influencer and philanthropist. She's out there flying helicopters and launching environmental initiatives, while Meghan's trying to convince people that her lifestyle brand is revolutionary.
They coughed everything they had to cough, and they've got nothing left. So again, they cannot claim to be successful.
Meanwhile, what have Harry and Meghan been up to lately? Harry's been floating through panel discussions looking like he's desperately trying to remember his talking points, and Meghan's been staging fruit arrangements like she's auditioning for a Pinterest board. The desperation is so thick, you could cut it with a knife, or, in Meghan's case, with whatever artisanal kitchen utensil she's probably trying to sell next. Here's the thing about Hollywood that Meghan clearly didn't understand when she thought she could waltz in and conquer it. Relevance isn't permanent, it's renewable. And if you're not constantly renewing it, you expire faster than milk left out in the California sun. The entertainment industry doesn't care about your truth, your journey, or your personal growth. It cares about numbers, engagement, and whether you can move the needle. Right now, Meghan and Harry couldn't move a needle if it were attached to a GPS and they had Google Maps.
Nobody wants to know those two because they haven't produced anything since the Netflix series and/or Spare. Nothing whatsoever.
And the cruelest part? They had everything they needed to succeed. They were modern royals with a compelling story, media savvy, and global recognition. They could have built an empire. Instead, they built a podcast that made people miss elevator music and a lifestyle brand that makes everyone wonder if they're having a midlife crisis. The Bezos wedding guest list wasn't personal, it was mathematical. These people look at return on investment, cultural impact, and current market value. Meghan and Harry's stock has dropped so low, it's practically trading in cryptocurrency that nobody's heard of. So when the news broke that literally everyone who matters was going to be sipping champagne on Venetian canals while she was probably at home trying to film content for her lifestyle brand, Meghan apparently lost it. And honestly, who could blame her? Sources close to the couple, and by sources, we probably mean their PR team, working overtime, have been trying to spin this as them choosing privacy and focusing on their family. But everyone in LA knows what that really means. The phone stopped ringing, the invitations stopped coming, and now they're trying to make irrelevance look intentional. It's like when your friend says they're taking a break from dating right after getting dumped. We all know what's really happening, but we play along because it's less awkward than pointing out the obvious. The sad reality is that Meghan probably saw those Venice wedding photos and realized she's not part of the conversation anymore. She's not trending, she's not influential, and she's certainly not invited to the parties that matter. She went from being the woman who made Buckingham Palace nervous to being the woman who makes people nervous about having to make small talk at charity events. While Meghan's at home, probably stress-eating organic avocado toast, the real players are cementing their positions in the new Hollywood hierarchy. The Bezos wedding wasn't just a party, it was a networking event disguised as a love story. DiCaprio's there because he's still headlining major films, and his dating life generates more headlines than most people's entire careers. The Kardashians made the cut because they've mastered the algorithm and turned reality television into a billion-dollar empire. Even Bill Gates got an invite, and the man's idea of entertainment is probably reorganizing his charitable foundation spreadsheets. But what does Meghan bring to the table now? A jam line that sounds like it was named by someone having an identity crisis? A lifestyle brand that feels like it was created by someone who Googled how to be Gwyneth Paltrow at 3 a.m. The brutal truth is that Hollywood doesn't offer participation trophies. You either add value or you get left behind. And right now, Meghan and Harry are adding about as much value as a broken iPhone charger. And technically, they still exist, but nobody really needs them anymore. Now, the million-dollar question, can they come back from this? In Hollywood, reinvention is possible, but it requires more than good intentions and Instagram motivational quotes. They need something big, something that makes people forget about the failed podcast, the underwhelming Netflix content, and whatever that lifestyle brand is supposed to be. They need a moment so powerful it resets their entire narrative and gives people a reason to care again. But here's the problem. They keep trying to make their personal drama into content, and the world has moved on from caring about their royal family grievances. Nobody wants to hear about how hard it was to be rich and famous in a palace. We've got real problems, people. The Venice wedding was a reminder that relevance isn't inherited, it's earned daily. And while Meghan was probably watching the coverage from her couch, wondering where it all went wrong, the new power players were making connections, building relationships, and staying relevant in a world that doesn't wait for anyone to catch up. So here we are. Meghan Markle, former actress, former royal, current lifestyle brand entrepreneur, is watching from the sidelines as the world's elites celebrate without her. It's not just a snub, It's a statement about where she stands in the current cultural hierarchy. The most telling part isn't that she wasn't invited, it's that nobody seems surprised by her absence. When you stop being a topic of conversation, you don't usually get a dramatic exit. You just fade away, like a song that used to be popular but now only plays in elevators. And maybe that's the real lesson here. In a world that moves as fast as social media and changes as quickly as TikTok trends, you can't coast on past relevance. You either keep up or watch from the sidelines as the party continues without you. The wedding is over, Venice is back to normal, and Meghan's probably already planning her next attempt at staying relevant. But until she figures out how to add real value to the conversation again, she'll keep finding herself on the outside, looking in, watching other people live the life she thought she was building. Because in Hollywood, the only thing worse than being talked about badly is not being talked about at all. And right now, the silence around Meghan and Harry is deafening. What do you think? Can they make a comeback, or is this the final chapter in their Hollywood story? Let us know in the comments below, because unlike their invite list, everyone's welcome to join this conversation.